Welcome, nerds and nerdettes, to the Status Effect Podcast, a show where three friends, that's us, gather each week to talk about games and other cool stuff that we want to talk about.
Yeah, whatever we want.
And stuff. I'm Michael. To my right or left? What's
left?
To my left is Zach.
Camera right.
Hey guys, you ready to thump this melon?
No.
Sounds very
I'm
sexually
not.
charged.
It was a little bit sexual, yeah. I'm making it edgy.
Okay. To my right is Justin.
Hello. Greetings. Salutations.
That was not nearly as edgy.
I'm not trying
Yeah,
to be
come on,
edgy.
get on
I'm
the
a
edgy train.
grown-ass man. I don't need to impress anybody.
Mostly.
Man.
Pinch the orange.
Ooh.
How's that one?
Do you really pinch oranges though?
You do to get the thing off.
What?
The
peel?
The skin.
Okay.
I skin my
I've
enemies.
literally, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've literally only eaten one orange in my entire lifetime, and Wesley gave me that orange.
I do not like eating oranges because your hands smell like the peel all day.
I did
That's
notice
a
that.
good thing.
Yeah.
Called
That's
wash
not a
your
good thing.
hands.
It doesn't matter. You can wash it. It gets down in your pores, dude. It is down
But
in
it's
there.
good for you. Like, it's vitamins and good stuff,
You just
right?
rub orange peels all over you all day?
This
You
is
could.
not game related, and it needs to stop right now.
Could
Okay.
be. Peeling an orange is a game.
No, it's not.
You want to play a game? Peel this orange.
Okay. Well, let's go into our first segment. Now that we're done talking about fruit
Yep.
and other things.
Finally.
I don't want to do this.
You got to do it.
Just do it, man.
What are you playing?
There you go. See, if you didn't make it such a big deal, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be a
You gotta-
smooth
I know.
transition.
It
It
just-
just go right
Exactly.
to it.
You gotta be more
Yeah.
casual.
I know.
Just be
It just-
cash, man. Just
It
be
feels
cash.
inherently unnatural to do.
It's not, though.
It's all in your head.
Okay, we're going to wind it back. Let's try
Okay,
this
This
again.
is too meta.
wait,
We
you have
should
to do it. You have
just
to do it
talk
like.
about games.
All right. Now for our first segment. What are you playing?
See, nice.
Better.
Yeah,
Better. It's all in
see?
your attitude.
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
All right. So what are you guys playing? What about
All
you,
right.
Zach? What do you got?
I got a game for your phone, right? It's free.
That's not a real game,
Oh,
dude.
God.
It is a game. No, it's really good. Really
Okay.
good.
All right.
Now,
Yeah.
the name is not indicative of what the actual game is, okay? It's called Moose Man.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
all right.
so let me give it to you.
All right.
It's actually really serious, like the game itself.
Okay.
Despite the name, yes. It is a narrative-based puzzle game where you play in an ancient tribe, and I don't remember the tribe's name. I don't believe it's Native
How
American.
culturally insensitive.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But you play. You are a person that can go in between the spirit world and the physical world, and so
Whoa.
the puzzles go from you have a rock in your way, so you have to go in the spiritual world to walk past it. But in the spiritual
Right.
world, there are things that are trying to kill you, so you have to bounce back and forth to be able to do that. So it's about this one man's journey. It's a pretty short game, but it's free, and the sound effects are really cool. I like the art style a lot.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a 2D platformer kind of style. But yeah, if you enjoy narrative games, if you don't really like narrative games, I wouldn't say this is for you. But I thought it was really interesting, and
How
I
much money
like
does
the.
it cost?
It's free, dude.
He just said it was free, dude.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't. Oh.
It's free. It's
I
free
think
to play.
I think Prey, the original Prey from like 2006, had a similar thing where you were like a Native American guy, and you had like a spirit guide. Whenever you died, instead of respawning, you would go into like the spirit world, and you could fight your way back.
I think that kind of
Sounds
stuff
cool.
is interesting.
Yeah, it
Not
was
enough
really
of
cool.
Native American like lore or
Yeah, no.
history
You can
or any of
you
that
find
stuff
these
in games, I don't think.
you read a bunch of myths that you find these like they're not totem poles but they're similar and they like give you some artifacts and stuff, so you learn more about like the culture as you're playing and what the world it like builds around you. But it's really kind of creepy at times as well, because when you switch to the spiritual world, like the spirit world, there are huge beings that like block your way sometimes. But if you don't know, they're not there when you're in the physical world. So you just like click the button, all of a sudden this huge thing is like standing right in front of you.
Whoa.
Not trying to kill you, but it's just in your way and you have to
dude.
flip back or whatever. And it's really interesting. I think that it's free, if you want to. I can't remember exactly how long the game is itself, but if you want maybe an hour of just like if you're sitting not doing
I think
anything.
you sold me on this one.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to try it out.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
need
like
to look it
phone
up.
games, but I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. What about
Cool.
you?
My game of the week is going to be the same thing as Justin's. The game we played last weekend. We'll talk to you guys about
I
that.
thought
in a
you
minute.
were gonna
do something
different.
I am. That overall, that's my game of the week.
Okay, I see.
After
Okay.
thinking about it,
But
but
we want to talk about different games.
I want to talk
ahead.
about the SNES Classic Edition.
Okay.
I finally picked one up. I saw it at Walmart the other day. I was like, I'm getting it.
How much is that?
It's like $60, $70.
Okay.
And it's got 30 some odd Super Nintendo games on it.
Nice.
Oh my god! And the controller is like a pure replica of the old Super Nintendo controller.
Oh,
The buttons feel exactly the same, like the texture.
And he was 5 years old again.
It felt like I was 5 years old.
Oh
As soon as
my
I booted
goodness.
up Mario World and turned on the CRT filter, I was like,
Oh,
You
boy.
just see
I
the
was
whole, all of
teleported.
time just going right back.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep, and I played through Super Metroid. I tried Super Ghouls and Ghosts, or Goblins, whatever. The Super
Yeah,
Ghouls
that
and
game's
Ghosts.
hard.
Yeah,
You can't
that's
move
tough.
when you jump in that game. You're
No,
just
just
You
you're
like-
can't
locked
move.
in.
Really?
Yeah, just like Castlevania, yeah.
Wow.
That game is very difficult.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Wesley, what you got?
I haven't been playing anything except 7 days ever since I got it on the PC. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
You guys still treating you right?
yeah. It's a lot more in depth in PC. There's been a lot more updates and a lot more things you can do than what you get on console.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much more fun.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, let's get into the first topic at the end of the game of the week with Justin. Go ahead.
Yeah, Michael and I have been recording some Let's Plays for the YouTube channel.
us.
Yeah, if you didn't know, go
If
check
you
that
guys
out.
haven't
They're really
noticed,
fun.
yeah, we just had our first one. I think we're uploading it as we're recording this right now, so you can check that out if you want. But we were looking for a co-op game to play, and there's not that much out there if you haven't looked lately. But there was one game that recently came out and it was on sale.
Yep.
I knew basically nothing about it, and so I just decided, we'll play this Prison Break game, right? It's co-op,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. So we played A Way Out, and this is a game. It's kind of like if you were to play Lethal Weapon as a video game. It's like a buddy cop almost type game, except that you're convicts. So you're escaping prison. You're trying to get revenge on this guy that put you there. Everything's unfair. There's twists. There's turns. It's a big crazy action movie where you're at one moment you're kind of back to back climbing up a mine shaft with the other person,
Nice.
and then later you're in a car chase,
Yep.
gunfights. I mean
It's split screen, right?
it is split
Yeah.
screen, and I
thought that was
think
really cool.
even online it's split screen. The whole game was kind of designed around that conceit of being a
Mhm.
split screen game,
Yeah.
which is weird because I'm not used to screen looking. So a lot of times I was asking Michael for stuff that I can clearly see.
You've
Yeah.
been trained since childhood not to look at the other
Yeah,
screen.
exactly. Honor code, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, since I didn't play it, but I've heard a lot about it, especially when it first came out. What do you guys think about like how it leans on co-op? Because that is the selling point of the game, right?
Yeah,
Is
definitely.
Get with your friend on the couch like the good old
Right,
days
right.
and break out of prison together, which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
I think it leans very heavily on it.
very, very heavily.
None of the individual gameplay elements are superb, I
Okay.
would say. There are good points, but it mostly is good because of the co-op.
So
gameplay.
what kind of
Yeah.
like dive into a little bit of the singular stuff that you're talking about that
Well-
doesn't stand great on its own, but together it makes this.
I think the best gameplay is the puzzle sequences when you're in the prison.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
And directly after you leave the prison, which is like the first hour and a half, 2 hours of the game.
Yeah.
And there's like 4 more
I
hours
think
after
it
that.
took us about 6 hours to complete it.
Yeah. But the puzzle sequences remind me a lot of Hitman in that you have an open sandbox area where there's different guards in certain areas and there are items that you can use and you have to get to a certain spot or you have to solve one objective, but they don't really tell you how to do it. They're kind of cryptic, so you got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Like there was this one section when we were in a laundry room and we have to get to the back room to steal a bunch of sheets to go put them down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, we're making a rope.
Right, we're making a rope.
Nice. That's classic right there.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is put Justin in like a laundry bin, and I stuffed a bunch of sheets above him. So he was like huddled in there, and on his screen he was just looking through.
That's
the
about
little
to say.
peephole.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to ask. Is like, how did it look on your screen?
Yeah,
Justin?
that's that. Yeah, I was kind of like if you've ever played Metal Gear Solid and you're trying to
Yeah.
look through the cardboard box hole. It was just
Yeah.
like that. You
Oh,
have like
nice.
this much. You can
That is
turn
awesome.
around and see.
Yeah.
But again, and I don't like the screen look, or I just wasn't. So I was actually like, oh my God, Michael, I can't see. What's going on? Help me, Michael, please.
Yep. And so we pushed him over to the door, and then the guard took him, and I was like, "Dude, the guard's taking you. I don't know where he's taking you, dude. I'm sorry. I'm
out."
I couldn't come with him."
Yeah.
And so the guard takes him into the back room, and then he came in and unlocked another door, and I had to instigate a fight to get one of the guards
Dude,
away
that
from the
is
door.
cool.
Yeah.
That
Like
is really
it's really
and
cool.
literally to instigate the fight, I walked up to somebody, slapped him in the back of the head, and was like, "That guy did that."
Yeah.
Nice.
And
That's
he was
so
like,
good.
"Why did you slap me in the back of the head, dude?"
The moments like that in the game are really cool, but the problem that I have with it is that I feel like maybe this game wouldn't have been as much fun if maybe I had, played it online with like a random person, or if it was a single player game.
Agree, yeah.
Because, for example, these puzzles seem cool. Like the setup is awesome, but for like that one in particular, that's really the only way that puzzle can go.
Right.
And a lot of the puzzle solving comes down to running around, mashing the interact button. In some cases, the other gameplay mechanics like shooting is about as bland as a cover shooter could possibly be.
Yeah.
But I feel like for whatever reason, they knew that all these things were problems, so they, there aren't too many shooting sections, for example. They paced it well for the most part. The middle section of the game, after you have escaped prison, spoilers I guess, is kind of slow, but it picks back up as it reaches that climax.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, despite all the flaws the game has, which it absolutely does, I feel like it added up to more than the sum of its parts. And I've heard complaints about the ending. I don't know where those are coming from.
I don't either. I don't want to talk about it and spoil
I don't
anything.
want to. I would not want to spoil it. I feel like
I really was shocked by the ending.
I was blown away. And I get part of the reason we didn't see it coming, I think, is because we were just like cutting up the entire time, having so much fun messing around.
That's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's when we talked before the show about the direction we were going to go, and they were talking about the game, they were like, I don't know why we like this game as much, because if you break it down kind of like we're doing now, it doesn't seem like it's that extraordinary, but something about sitting down on the couch with your buddy and playing split screen and
Breaking
being
out of
able,
prison.
and being able to like goof around and do crazy stuff. And then we started talking too about Hitman 2 that's coming out. They're gonna have a co-op where you can play two people in the same
That's
thing.
gonna be
That is
fantastic.
gonna be awesome. That's gonna be amazing.
I can't wait.
Yeah, but that's
So
the thing,
hyped.
right? I'm ready to get back to the time where you are working together with someone who's in the same room as you.
Yeah, I agree.
Although I love online play and competitive play and stuff, there's a part of me that just misses sitting down with the GameCube and playing Smash with all your friends.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and
absolutely.
I'm ready to get back to that a little bit. I know it's never going to be the whole thing. Like, it's online's never going to go away, and that's fine. It has its place. But I just miss it, dude. And I think this game gives me hope for the.
Yeah.
And Smash is coming.
I think it is hope. I don't think this is like the game that's saving co-op, because
No.
this is not a game I could imagine myself playing through again. But it's also a game that I think if I had any expectations at all going into it, like if I had heard the complaints about the ending, it could have easily ruined the game for me. Very, very easily. This game, I feel like I played it in just the right mindset, with just the right person at just the right time, with just the right amount of information going into it.
Right.
To make it as enjoyable as it was.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that like how strong a recommendation I can give it because of that. But if you have a friend that also knows nothing about the game, just play it. Just buy it right now. I think it might still be on sale. If not, it's like $30, and you're probably going to have a good time.
Have a great time.
You're gonna have some laughs.
So-
it sounds like. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah. Oh yeah. The video should be coming out eventually.
Oh, man.
I would recommend the part where we arm wrestle. Any mini game basically. There's like a arcade game where you play volleyball.
Yeah,
that one was
dude.
good. The
That's
Connect
awesome.
4. I completely pooped on Michael at Connect 4.
I'm just ready for like. So let's say Hitman 2, right? With co-op.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it probably won't be split screen. It'll probably just be over.
Yeah.
But I'm just imagining you dress up in like you put a disguise on, and you walk up to a guard and you're trying to talk to him, and then your teammate comes up behind him and gets him. Like, that is just so cool.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome. Like overhearing a guard talk about like a password somewhere while your partner's waiting there to input it or something. I mean, there's just so many cool
Or
things you can
calling
do with a
the
game like
shots.
that.
You got two guards on a like a balcony,
Yeah.
and you just say, all right, count it down, take the one on the left, and I'll take the one on the right. Ooh,
It's gonna be so
Man.
good. Yeah,
gonna be fun.
I hope it meets those kind of expectations, because it could easily just be, some kind of trash that they just tack on.
I hope not. I hope they give it the
me
attention
too.
it deserves, because that would make me want to play it. Even though Hitman is something that I enjoy anyway, like it's really cool. I like that the single player element of like problem solving,
Being a
mixed
sneaky
in-
douchebag.
Yeah, mixed in with assassinations. But I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so this next thing we're going to talk about, we want to preface just a little bit. We don't have a ton of information about this. This just got released this week. So maybe even by the time this video comes out, there might be more info on this. We're definitely not going to see the repercussions of this until later. But what we're going to talk about in this next section is our opinion only. So if you disagree, let us know. We can talk about it. But we're going to talk about the new Steam guidelines for the games they put on their platform, because that was a big deal this week. They had a video game. I don't remember the name of it.
I think it was Mass Shooter. I think it was just called Mass
so
Shooter.
So very insensitive, obviously. Terrible thing that people make. But obviously, unless I am completely unaware of the video game player base, doubt that game is getting much playtime or purchase.
Yeah.
But there's a big uproar because it was out on Steam and you could purchase it on Steam. So Steam came back and basically said that they were not really going to do much about it. I think they took that. Did they take that game off?
I think they did take that particular one down.
I think they took that game off, but basically they're releasing.
And they have taken other games down that were controversial in the past.
Yeah. So they're basically not saying that they're going to let everything under the sun go, but they are basically saying they're going to leave it up to the consumer to decide what they want to see in front of them and what they don't want to see in front of them, because they are basically saying we are essentially a third party in this, putting this product in front of you, and it's up to you to decide what
now,
you want.
My question is, how are they going to implement this? Are they going to have, like, whenever you sign into Steam, is it going to be like a checkbox, say, I want anime titties, I want mass shootings, and I want that?
Well, I think it'd be probably more like in your filter settings.
Yeah, I mean, when you open Steam, it opens your library. You know, it's not like the first thing you see is, hey, buy this game about killing children.
Yeah, when you go into the store,
that's true.
It'll have filter options, I believe, and this is how they set it up. Again, we might have more information by the time this video comes out, so leave a comment if we missed something. But so basically they're taking a pretty conservative, we're not going to get super political, but if you want to put a political,
I'm not sure it would even be conservative. I think it would be a libertarian, I guess, or like
in the
some
middle.
people would say
it's definitely
lazy. Some people, the idea is that they just don't want to deal with the problem of having to curate every single game that gets uploaded.
I think that's a big factor,
but
I don't
clearly
think
cheap. That was absolutely cheap. There's like no doubt about that. As someone who's played their
like
games.
to think of it as them letting, like that's the benefit of a free market, right? Yeah. Stuff that the whole populace thinks is abhorrent, right? So obviously, probably 98% of people would say mass shooting game, no way. Right? That is completely wrong, insensitive, and we all agree.
Call of Duty already did it, man. I don't see what the big fuss is about, right?
I remember that. Yeah,
it was
because you had to accept it, right?
Yeah.
You had to accept it when it started.
You could choose to skip it, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, now that wasn't until
later. That was Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, the ability to skip it wasn't in the original release.
If you don't know, in Modern Warfare 2,
it was Modern Warfare 2.
It was at the very beginning. You are an undercover you're working in a terrorist organization, and you go through an airport and basically waste a bunch of people. So that was very controversial in its time. But yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Is Steam's basically saying it is up to the consumer. So I want to give my opinion on it. First, we can kind of
regurgitate your talking points, you troll.
Yeah. So I actually I'm really impressed by, even if it is a little bit cheaper for them in every way, like money, especially.
I mean, that's my thing. Is like, I don't think this is Valve making a political statement. No. I think this is completely based on maximizing their cash flow.
I agree, but it does align with what I would have chosen if you're talking about it politically. You know what I mean? Like that, letting people decide what comes in front of them and what they purchase is what I think is the best part about a free market. So obviously, yes, it's terrible that games like that exist. Will they always exist? Yes, they're always going to exist. And I think that first of all, I don't think Steam would be able to funnel everything, right, without funneling some stuff that shouldn't be funneled.
Well, I mean, there's other platforms that take a different approach. Not even just game platforms, but like YouTube, for example. Yeah. You know, they have stricter standards for what they allow.
But they get a lot of pushback.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the way I would prefer it. I think on principle, I agree with you. But there are other companies that have taken a different stance. And to me, that's the most interesting part, is that Valve is just going in a different direction than basically every other company. I mean, this is the reason this, I think, is such a big deal is because Valve is really the only company that are doing this. And I think part of that is because they're private. They have the freedom to do that and not have to listen to shareholders.
But so do is YouTube not private?
I don't think so. No, they're
really?
Like Google.
Not anymore?
Google is public.
It's Google, yeah.
Well, you hear a lot of complaints on the more conservative side of YouTube saying that they get throttled. that they
Yeah.
don't get their videos, their people notified when, and some of that, I don't know.
There's
all of it
definitely
is
some
true.
weird stuff going on with YouTube and like political discourse. But
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure
I'm not
any of that
100%.
stuff applies to this case with Steam.
No, that's what I'm saying is that they are they are definitely filtering content.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, and I was only going to speak to that because I don't know to what extent all that stuff about, what videos are getting shown, what are getting demonetized. I don't know what extent of that is true versus like if they're actually only going over after conservative people, but that is what you get when you start throttling content, right?
Yeah.
Is you get at least, it could be conservative, it could be liberal, whatever.
You
it
get
doesn't
some
matter.
kind of you get a bias based on whatever that company's views are.
Somebody is getting throttled by that.
Well, in this case, maybe Gabe Newell, he probably loves anime titties. So we don't have to worry about that, right? But,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, who knows what his fetishes are?
So imagine this in a YouTube's light, right? So if you go on a YouTube, and basically they do this already to a degree, but if you could go in and say, I want to watch videos about this and this and this, and then they put those videos in front of you, and unless you search specifically for something else, they're not going to put anime titties in front of you.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so they did take that mass shooter game down.
Yes.
I think so.
I believe
I think so.
They did? Okay, Wesley just confirmed they did.
Now, what are their standards? Like, if somebody else puts another mass shooting type game out, are they going to let it stay?
As of right now, I don't believe they have any standards. I think the standards right now are money, basically. Like, is the backlash from this costing us more money than the game was selling?
Pretty much, that's what I got from.
They said that they aren't. I think their standard was trolling games would not be allowed and anything that's illegal. So it's kind of unclear.
That's illegal. What does that mean? Like Payday, robbing banks is illegal?
No, like illegal content, like no child porn.
Oh, gotcha.
The content itself, not what you're doing.
Like, and it would still be on a country by country basis. It would have to be. So you wouldn't like the same game may not be available in Germany because it has a swastika or blood or whatever. Chinese games don't allow have skeletons. For example, you cannot show exposed bone. I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's country dependent. So. What they're basically saying is they don't want to be the arbiters of what is and is not acceptable.
Yeah.
They want the market to decide. I think that I think that's honestly a more honest way to do things.
I think it could be. I think it just doesn't feel good. Like having
it's a hard decision for sure because you don't want those games to exist.
I don't, but
but they are though.
I understand that they exist, but there are other places that you could probably get them.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like Steam is way too mainstream to have those games allowed. Right? It's too big of an audience to expose it to.
I think that's what's good about Steam is that it is so big. It is so open.
My point is
anime cities have been on Steam for a long time. This is not.
I understand
like
that.
Weird games on Steam is not a new thing.
I understand that, but if you want a mass shooting game. You know where else to get that other than Steam. Like you can find it somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. But
Steam has such a big audience. That's
in that same light, though.
So dangerous.
That game is not going to do well on Steam because there are other places you can get it, right? And the majority of the populace who plays Steam, they are going to hate that game, right? Because it's terrible. I guess. That's the beautiful thing about what they're doing is that they're letting the people naturally get rid of the filth. Because they aren't going to purchase it, they're going to dislike it, they're going to call to arms about it.
That's a huge trust in humanity.
It is.
You have to at some point. Yeah. You can't dictate to people what they're going to be exposed to, what they're going to play.
These are the same people that made the mass shooting game. You're trusting them to filter it out now?
No. It's the people buying the game.
Yeah, that's the big difference, right? It's not the person who made it; it's the people who buy it. Okay. Just because something exists doesn't mean that humanity approves.
Do we know the stats on that? How many people bought that mass shooting game?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Steam, Valve completely removed not only that game, but everything that publisher put on Steam. And he had been banned previously once before, came back under a different company name.
He was one of these guys flipping assets like in the Unity engine that comes with a bunch of like pre-made assets.
Yeah.
Cramming those all together.
He was pushing.
Right.
So he was doing illegal stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So as soon as they found out it was him, they stopped even researching the game anymore or anything about it. And they just banned him.
So it may not even been because of the content of that particular game. So who knows?
It was mostly because
so they're still going to be on top of people doing stuff like that, right? Putting illegal content out.
So they are looking at it as they're not just letting it be the wild, wild west of video games.
Not complete. I think they're going as close as they can, but of course there's still legal liability.
Right,
things.
exactly. So they're not throwing everything to the wind.
Pornographic games, right? the floodgates are going to be open now completely, especially when you consider things like VR. It's going to be nuts.
Well,
so there's going to have to be some sort of filtering. You do not want. Shut up, Zach.
You got me giggling, dude.
Because I think to get a Steam account, you have to technically be 13, right?
I don't
think most countries are going to want 13-year-olds.
You can put in whatever age you want.
Right.
To,
I get that. But now they're opening themselves up to that potential liability. They have to handle that somehow.
Some 5-year-old out there just had his mind blown. You could put whatever age you want. Oh, my God.
Michael. You're liable now.
You've defeated their most stringent age requirements.
I just think if a platform is going to do that, Steam shouldn't be the one to do it because the audience is so big. I know like they could... we trust humanity and they're going to filter it out for themselves, but
they are. I honestly, I don't believe
it just seems real dangerous to me.
I don't like the idea of a company telling me or deciding for me what is acceptable and what isn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want them to be what they say they are.
I want to choose myself or for my children or whatever.
Yeah.
Assuming I had some.
Like
still single.
Oh my God.
Just take that opportunity to plug yourself there.
God.
From that standpoint, I agree with you. It just seems real sketchy.
No, it doesn't. Like, it doesn't feel good.
Real sketchy.
They're saying they're going to replace this with like user created filters. So if you don't want to see anime titties, if you don't want to see murdering kids,
if you do want to see
that's
anime
what they
titties,
need to do. If they implement something like that,
they already said they are,
and not make me go through a bunch of menus, but they present it to me up front whenever they make the update or whatever, and say check all these boxes for what you want to see.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
I'm not sure that I have confidence in Valve to be able to handle that. Like the way that the Steam store has evolved over the years is not impressive to me.
No, it's not.
And I don't have any confidence that they will be able to pull this off in a way that alleviates the kind of concerns that people like you have. I don't think they're going to be able to manage it. I think this thing is going to be a hot mess and it's going to blow up in their face.
I still don't think they would have been able to do I don't think, because it's Valve, I don't think they would have been able to throttle the games like they wanted to anyway. I think they're not adequately prepared.
Too much volume.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If they're going to pick one that they're not going to do great at, I would rather them err on the side of the consumer getting to choose than them saying, well, you can't play these games.
I think it's nice just to at least have one platform that you know is going to be open, even if all these others are gonna be you know so stringently curated. At least there is one that is actually like an open market. And if you appreciate that, you can shop there, and if you don't, there's plenty of options. You do not have to get all your games off Steam anymore.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
If some of the very popular games that Steam is making, don't buy their games. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I know I won't buy games that I don't like. I mean, I've never even
that's their whole
point.
These
types of games that people are complaining about, like these content flips and all this stuff. If you look on the store, like you have to go digging to even find it.
Yeah, there's no way that's going to pop up on recommended.
I honestly don't even understand where these complaints are coming from. Like, obviously, these kind of games should be shut down, like especially the ones that are just stealing content from people.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why this is not some epidemic.
Right.
At least in my mind. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe these things are selling like hotcakes.
I don't know that much about Steam. I haven't.
Well, that's the thing. Without knowing how much they sell, it's hard for me to say. But I would imagine that they're not doing well. There's no way.
You think that gamers would be smarter than that. You wouldn't think that they'd buy games that are obviously garbage.
Right.
I mean,
either content or copyright.
People spend thousands of dollars on Candy Crush.
At least it's an actual game, I guess.
But I also don't. I mean, no quandaries if you play Candy Crush. But the people who only play Candy Crush, like,
are those really the people that?
I don't think those are the people on
searching through.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good point too. I'm just saying, like, people aren't as smart as you get credit for.
Wow.
Well, not even
from the mouth of Michael.
It could be a situation where it's a little kid, like, thinking, like, it says to go to the next level, pay like $5 or whatever. The kid doesn't know that it's going to charge the account or whatever. They just click, play the next level.
But that's why.
Hey, maybe that stuff's going to be illegal soon too. I mean, we've heard about what's going on with loot crates and stuff like that in the EU. So maybe we're not that far away from a time where those sort of predatory practices,
I'm fine with loot crates going away.
Illegal. Yeah, me too. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Well, I mean, they need to be more clear up front with settings like that, because my nephew, I know, one time was using my mother's phone to play Angry Birds years ago. And she looked down and he had spent like $25.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to just click and say spend money.
Yeah. It needs to be more.
But also, if people are actually adhering to the guidelines of age with these games,
at some point you have to. The parents, of these people.
So I mean, if you're
it's not gonna happen.
But the fault is not on Steam at that point, right? It is on the consumer. So if you're a 5-year-old and you're going online and your parents know or whatever, and you say you're 18 and they let
Yeah.
you play mass shooter, then at some point you got to say, well, at what point do we say, well, it's, you got to be aware that your child is going on these sites.
And
maybe
it's not like the parental controls and stuff aren't in place to make that possible. So
just be aware. I mean, a little bit.
You have to care a little bit.
Just
Like if you're gonna get outraged, you should care enough to prevent it from happening in the first place.
Yeah.
I
You
think.
should be actively going against it and making sure that it doesn't happen, and then get angry
But,
when something slips past you.
in this specific situation, the way to do that is, Valve said they're not gonna throttle games like essentially like this. Then you just go on, and if you really want them to not be there, cry out against the game themselves, not Valve.
And especially with the way that Valve is doing things, they're basically leaving it up to us to do exactly that.
Yeah.
It is now our responsibility
Yeah.
to decide when a game is trash that isn't worthy of being on
So
Steam.
instead of saying, Valve, how can you have a game like that? Look at the developer of the game and say, how can you create a game like that? That's the focus that they're trying to shift from themselves.
I appreciate
They're trying to get the
saying-
community
I
to
feel that.
police
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? I think that's a healthier thing because that's how we're actually going to stop people making those games, if you attack the people who are making them, not who are putting them out on their, or letting them come on their platform.
Not
You know
the
what I mean?
platform itself, but the person who develops it and then markets it.
Yes.
Fair enough.
I think,
Fair enough.
It feels good. It feels good. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure if you're listening to this on the podcast audio over the podcast webs, you go to YouTube. Podcast webs. Go to YouTube. Check out. We have our whole episodes up now. No longer chunked up. So you could see
You're
Michael's.
ruining it, dude.
You could see
You're
Michael's
choking,
pretty
man.
face. But yeah, so go check that out. Link is in the description of this podcast.